Kiss your own fingertips. Hug your own curves. You are made of waves and honey and spicy peppers when necessary. You are a goddess. And I hope that you haven't forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Vagina Monologues 2016. My name is Nilofer, call me Nilo, not the chocolate drink Milo, and thank you for the honor of opening Vagina Monologues 2016. Show of hands, how many of you have been to a show before? Okay, good majority. All right. For those of you wondering, what the hell am I doing here? Wonder no more, because we will have a video streamed shortly after my opening act, and we'll give you a bit of background in terms of what the monologues are about and how they came to be. All right. So my opening act is not a monologue in itself, but it's I'm a spoken word poet, and it's a poem I wrote a week after my mother died. So we're starting a bit on a somber note. She died of cancer in 2013, and I thought it's a good chance for us to use the poem as tribute to our mothers, the legacy they leave behind when they do leave us, and the enriching presence they have in our life when they are with us. So are you ready and excited? I am sorry. As those words meet your ears, you sit somewhere at the crossroads of losing yourself to trying to make sense of it all in a hurry. With cupped hands, you try to hold the hailstorm falling from the sky, only to realize that you are being showered by dust of your own crumbling world, spiraling to the ground faster than you can hold. You find yourself dripping air like you're holding on to an invisible rope, blinded by the choking smoke. But it's not the smoke that chokes you. It's the memories you had with her. Each memory of hers rises and floats in a bubble around you. You try to move ahead, but there are way too many bubbles in front of you, and they prevent you from seeing your path ahead. Like your first day at school, when her fingers weaved so perfectly with yours, assuring you that you will find a second home there. Like the time when you could barely color within the lines, and she held your first superhero drawing for all to see with pride, even when your superhero was a sorry-looking figure wearing nothing but red underwear, and you ran to Mama, tugging at her dress, asking her to pull the drawing down before your friends could see. Like the time when you met someone you fancied, and Mama looked at you as if to say, I know what you're up to. This was your kingdom. A kingdom that you both built together. The skyline of your kingdom is dotted with many firsts, and you never imagined that this moment with her today would be your last. And with sorrow that weighs on your shoulders like weight of that of 1,000 years, you try to push the bubbles of memories aside just so you can move forward with no fear, gently stepping around them so you don't burst them and lose her memories in the rubble. The path that you walk on, it is paved with denial. It is riddled by rocks of anger, and it is filled with puddles of depression. And an earnest prayer rises from your chest to the heavens above. Why? Why could it not have been me instead? What her doctor did not tell you was that your grief goes beyond the 5 stages. What her doctor did not tell you was how you could add life to her last few months. And they certainly did not tell you that death is hardest on the living. And yet you remember that all Mama ever said to you was believe that your best years are ahead of you. And so you tell yourself that I will survive this. And your heart knows that you will, even when a part of your world has left the world. I am a fighter, even when you know that the only balm to your pain is a feel of her touch that still lingers on your skin. I will be all right. And you know that even if it's going to take you a lot of time, your head will come above the surface of water for a breath of air called new life. Because all that Mama ever asked of you was for you to believe that the best years are always ahead of you. Your hands will open new doors, and behind those doors, her legacy will always be yours. Because death never stopped for her. It went around and came back for her. So why should you? Because all that Mama ever said to you was believe that tomorrow the sun will rise, your eyes will open, and your lungs will expand to take in air, and your feet will place themselves on grass and walk in this reality, which is a dream that you've both built together. Because all Mama ever asked of you was for you to believe that your best years are ahead of you, and you know that her light is in you, within you, and it will never flicker. Because all she ever asked of you was for you to believe that your years are ahead of you. And with that, you finally, at a long last, your grief finds a release, and you find the courage to move on.
You're worried.
We were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she didn't have the time to look at it. She was too busy. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You gotta get down on your back in front of a mirror that stands on its own. Full length preferred. You've got to find the perfect position with the perfect light, which then is overshadowed somehow by the mirror and the angle you're at. You get all twisted up. You're arching your head up, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she didn't have the time for that. She was busy.
So there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. More than 200 women were interviewed. Older women, young women, married women, single women, college professor, lesbians, actresses, business women, sex workers, Latin American women, African American women, Asian American women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish migrant. Okay, at first, women were reluctant to talk. They were a little bit shy. But once they started talking, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas, mainly because no one's ever asked them before.
I mean, let's just start with the word vagina. It sounds like an infection. Maybe a medical instrument. Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina. Vagina, vagina. It doesn't matter how many times you say it. It just doesn't sound like a word you want to say. If you use it having sex, trying to be politically correct, darling, would you stroke my vagina? You kill the act right there.
We were worried about vaginas. What we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, New York, they call it pussycat. A woman there said her mother used to tell her, "Don't wear panties underneath your pajamas, dear. You need to air out your pussycat."
In Westchester, they call it a pookie.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There's powder box, poochie, poopy, pee-pee, poopaloo, panani, pal, and a peachy.
Toady, Dee, Nishi, Dignity, Monkey Box.
Coochie snorter, cooter, labbe.
Lady Siegelman.
VA, VV, horse spot, nappy dugout.
Mongo, Mookie, a pajama, fanny boo, marshmallow.
Ghoulie, tamale, possible, tortita, Connie.
A Mimi in Miami.
A split knish in Philadelphia.
A shmende in the Bronx.
Kvitechka in Ukraine.
Doos, friemel, or flamoes in the Netherlands.
Mulf in Ireland.
Buchta in the Czech Republic.
Piola in Iceland.
Pasarica in Romania.
Punzi in Hungary.
Papaya, pucha, coño, concha in Mexico.
La Chatte in France.
Nature's Pocket in Canada.
A mushi, a mumu, a möse in Germany.
Kiesenka in Russia.
A babetya on Guam. We're worried about vaginas.
Some of the monologues are based on one woman's story. Some of the monologues are based on several women's stories. And a few times, a good idea became an outrageous one. This monologue is based on one woman's story, although the subject came up in every interview and was often fraught. The subject being hair.
You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people do not love hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He said it was cluttered and dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked puffy and exposed and like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to me, my vagina felt the way a beard must feel. It felt good to rub it, and painful, like scratching a mosquito bite. There were screaming red bumps. It felt like it was on fire. I refused to shave it again. Then, my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist had a German accent and gasped between sentences to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please my husband. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt little when my hair was gone down there, and I couldn't help talking in a baby voice. And the skin got all irritated, and even calamine lotion wouldn't help it. She told me marriage was a compromise. I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop him from screwing around. I asked her if she had many cases like this before. She said that questions diluted the process. I needed to jump in. She was sure it was a good beginning. This time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. He clipped it a few times and there was a little blood in the bathtub. But he didn't even notice it because he was so happy shaving me. Then, later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no fluff. I realized then that hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower, the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband never stopped screwing around.
All the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Glasses. A beret.
A leather jacket.
Silk stockings.
Mink.
A pink boa.
A male tuxedo.
Jeans. Something form-fitting.
Emeralds.
An evening gown.
Sequins.
Armani only.
A tutu.
See-through black underwear.
A taffeta ball gown. Something machine washable.
Costume eye mask.
Purple velvet pajamas.
Angora.
A red bow.
Ermine and pearls.
A leopard hat.
A silk kimono.
Sweatpants.
A tattoo.
An electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
High heels.
Lace and combat boots.
Purple feathers, twigs, and shells.
Cotton.
A pinafore.
A bikini.
A slicker.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
Slow down!
Is that you?
Feed me.
I want.
Yum yum.
Oh yeah.
Start again.
No, over there.
Lick me.
Stay home.
Brave choice.
Think again.
More, please.
Embrace me.
Let's play.
Don't stop.
More. More.
Remember me?
Come inside.
Not yet.
Whoa, mama.
Yes. Yes.
Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God.
Thank God.
I'm here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Find me.
Thank you.
Bonjour.
Too hard.
Don't give up.
Where's Brian?
That's better.
Yes.
There!
between the ages of 65 and 75 was interviewed. And these interviews were the most poignant, possibly because many of these women had never had a vagina interview before. One woman, who was 72, had never even seen her vagina. She washed herself in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention. She never had an orgasm. At 72, she went into therapy, as they do in New York, and with the help of a therapist, she went home one afternoon by herself, lit some candles, took a bath, played some music, and she got down with herself. She said it took her over an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This monologue is for her.
Sorry? Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953. No, it had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No, it's a cellar down there. Very damp, clammy. You don't want to go down there, trust me. You get sick, suffocate, very nauseating. Ugh, the smell of the clamminess and the mildew and everything. Smells unbearable. Phew. Gets into your clothes. No. There was no accident down there. I mean, it didn't blow up or catch fire or something like that. It wasn't so dramatic. Well, I mean, no, I can't talk to you about this. I can't talk to you about down there. What's a young, smart girl like you doing going around talking to old ladies about their downers for? We certainly didn't used to do that kind of thing when I was your age. What? Jesus. Okay. Well, there was this boy. He was cute. Well, I thought so. And tall, like me. He took me out for a date in his car. No, I can't do this. I can't talk to you about down there. You just know it's there. Like the cellar. Sometimes there's rambles down there. Sometimes you can hear the pipes. Sometimes things get caught up in there. Little animals and things. Sometimes it gets wet, and somebody has to go down there and plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed, locked up, down there. But every house needs a cellar. Otherwise, the bedroom would be in the basement. Oh, Andy. Andy Lefkoff. He was very good looking. He was a catch, as we used to call it in my day, anyway. We were out in his car, a new white Chevy Bel Air. And I remember thinking that my legs were too long. I have very long legs. So my legs were smushed up against the dashboard, and I was looking at my big kneecaps when suddenly Andy leaned in, pulled me towards him, and kissed me in this take me by control like they do in the movies kind of way. I got excited. I got very excited. And there was a flood. There was a flood. I couldn't control it. It was this force of life, this river of passion, flooded right out of me, through my panties, onto the car seat of Andy Lefkoff's white new Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee. And it didn't smell. Frankly, I didn't smell anything at all. But Andy said, that it smelled like sour milk, that it was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl. I tried to explain myself. I said, I wasn't usually like this. His kiss had caught me off guard. And I tried to wipe up the flood with my new yellow primrose dress, and it looked terrible with the flood on it. That night, Andy drove me home. He never spoke another word with me. So when he dropped me off, closed the car door, and I closed the whole store. Locked it. Never opened for business again. I dated Sam after that, but the idea of the flooding made me too nervous. Never even got close again. I mean, I've had dreams. Crazy dreams. Oh, they're dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds. I don't know why. He never did much for me in real life, but in my dreams, it was always Bert and I, Bert and I, Bert and I. It was always the same general dream. We'd be out in one of those restaurants, like you know, in Atlantic City, with the big chandeliers and thousands of waiters running around with their vests. And Bert would give me this orchid corsage. I'd pin it on my blazer, and we'd laugh. We were always laughing, Bert and I. Laughing. We'd eat shrimp cocktail. Big, fabulous shrimp. We'd laugh more. We were very happy together. Then, Bert would lean into me, and he'd pull me towards him, and just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant started shaking. There would be pigeons flying out from underneath the table. I don't know what they were doing there. And the flood would pour from down there. It would pour and pour and pour. There would be fish in there and little and Bert would be standing there waist deep in my flood, looking terribly disappointed that I'd done it again. Horrified as he watched his friends, Dean Martin and the like, swimming past in their tuxedos and evening clothes. I don't have those dreams anymore. Not since they took away just about everything related to death. Took away the uterus, the works, the tube system. My doctor's a real comedian. He said, if you don't use it, you lose it. But really, I found out it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? Highly overrated. I've done other things. I love the dog shows. I sell antiques. What? What would it wear? What would it wear? What kind of question is that? It would bear a big sign. Closed due to flooding. What would it say? Well, it's not a person, so it probably wouldn't talk. But no, it's a place. A place you don't go. Locked up down there, underneath the house. You happy now? Got it out of me. Got an old lady to talk about her down there. Do you feel better now? You know, if I'm honest, you're the first person I've ever talked to about this. And I feel a bit better.
My vagina is a shell. A round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I didn't always know this. I learned this in the Vagina workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina workshop. A woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who ran the Vagina workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vaginas. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. This one woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth, screaming with coins spilling out. Another quite skinny woman drew a kind of serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that get lost there. I'd always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I never actually thought of my vagina in biological or practical terms. I did not, for example, think of it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. I must tell you that up until this point, everything that I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I'd never actually seen the thing. It never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It felt so reductive and awkward looking at it the way we were in the workshop on our shiny blue mats with hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. But the thing that surprised me the most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lie there, my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. Ancient, full of grace. It had the innocence and the freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and close. Then the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I didn't raise my hand because, although I had orgasms, I didn't actually know how to make one happen. I thought it was a magical, mystical thing. I didn't want to intervene. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone and the mystery. Problem was, of course, the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina workshop. Then the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our mats, on our backs, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason, and I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Or maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. The enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I lay there, searching for my spot, reaching with my fingers. And all I can think about was the time when I was 10 and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. How I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, searching for my ring. How I kept running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt. I knew I'd be punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, "It's gone! It's gone! I lost my clitoris! I shouldn't have wanted swimming!" The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She gently stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something that I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, gentle and quiet. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells and slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy and I fit. Then, without looking, my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. I was all warm and pulsing and young and ready and alive. There was a slight quivering at first, which urged me to stay. Then the quivering turned into a quake, an eruption, layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and colors, which opened onto a plane of music and innocence and longing, and I felt connection. Calling connection as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip and a destiny. I am arriving as I'm beginning to leave. My vagina, me.
Here is a vagina happy fact. This is from Woman and Intimate Geography by Natalie Angie.
The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves. 8,000 nerve fibers, to be precise. It is a higher concentration of nerve fibers than is found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, lips, and tongue. And it is twice the number in the penis. So, who needs a handgun if you got a semi-automatic?
As part of Eve's work to include the voices of all women who face violence, she interviewed a diverse group of transgender women in preparation for creating this piece. Her idea to transform this wide range of experiences into a great chorus was an elegant way to give many voices a feeling of one voice united. Punishing the feminine was an overarching theme of the interviews, and this can take many forms. For some women in the transgender community, they experience violence from a very early age because they're so feminine, or because they show inappropriate interest in things considered feminine. For others, the violence comes later because they're not feminine enough. Those who do not pass gender muster often get pushed to the fringes of society, especially the youngest and most vulnerable. Yet, they stay true to their hearts, despite every attempt to break their spirits. This monologue moves from childhood through adversity and into the maturity, wisdom, and joy of affirming who they are. Women who face a difficult road just to claim that name. Yet, they endure, they survive, and they share in the pride of expressing femininity with all women in one voice united.
At 5 years old, I was putting my baby sister's diapers on. I saw her vagina. I wanted one. I wanted one. I thought it would grow.
I thought I would open. I ached to belong. I ached to smell like my mother. Her sweet aroma lived in my hair, on my hands, in my skin. I ached to be pretty. Pretty.
I wondered why I was missing my bathing suit top at the beach. Why I wasn't dressed like the other girls. I ached to be completed. I ached to belong. To twirl the baton.
They assigned me a sex the day I was born. It is as random as being adopted, or as being assigned a hotel room on the 30th floor. It has nothing to do with who you are, or with your fear of heights. But despite of the apparatus I was forced to carry around, I always knew I was a girl.
They beat me for it. They beat me for crying. They pummeled me for wanting.
To touch,
To pet,
To hug.
to help,
To hold their hands.
for trying to fly in church like Sister Betrayal,
for doing cartwheels.
Crocheting socks.
for carrying purses to kindergarten,
They kick the shit out of me every day on my way to school.
In the park, they smashed my magic marker painted nails.
they punched my lipstick mouth,
They beat the girl out of my boy.
or
they tried. So I went underground. I stopped playing the flute.
Be a man. Stand up for yourself. Go punch him back.
I grew a full beard.
It was good, and I was big.
I joined the Marines. Suck it up and drive on.
I became duller,
Jaded.
Sometimes cruel.
Butch it.
Butch it!
Butch it up.
Always clenched. Inaccurate. Incomplete.
I ran away from home.
from school,
From boot camp.
Ran to Miami.
Greenwich Village.
Aleutian Islands.
New Orleans.
I found gay people.
Wilderness lesbians.
Got my first hormone shot. Got permission to be myself.
To transition. To travel. To immigrate. 350 hours of hot needles. I would count men particles as they died. 16 man hairs gone.
The feminine is in your face. I lift my eyebrows more. I'm curious. I ask questions.
And my voice, it's all about resonance. Sing song, men are monotone and flat. Southern accents are really excellent. Jewish accents really help. Hello, my friend.
And my vagina is so much friendlier. I cherish it. It brings me joy.
The orgasms come in waves. Before they were jerky.
I'm your girl next door.
My lieutenant colonel father ending up paying for it. My vagina.
My mother was worried what people would think of her. That she made this happen. Until I came to church and everyone said, "You have a beautiful daughter."
I became soft. I am allowed to listen. I am allowed to touch. I am able to receive.
To be in the present tense.
People are so much nicer to me now.
I can wake up in the morning and put my hair in a ponytail.
A wrong was righted.
I am right with God.
It's like when you're trying to sleep and there's a loud car alarm. When I got my vagina, it was like someone finally turned it off.
I live in the female zone now. But you know how people feel about immigrants? They don't like it when you come from someplace else. They don't like it when you mix. They killed my boyfriend. They beat him insanely as he slept with a baseball bat. They beat this girl out of his head. They didn't want him dating a foreigner, even though she was pretty and she listened and she was kind. They didn't want him falling in love with ambiguity. They were scared he'd get lost. They were that terrified of love.
This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath, with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite! I know all of it. I mean, if we grew up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs are beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women that had looked at it, and from that moment on, I wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, or leopard rugs, pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I got so accustomed to this, I lost all memory of even having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink line muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob did not eat spicy foods or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He did not express his inner feelings. He had no problems or issues. He wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change, which I dropped on the deli floor. As he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. "I'm right here," I said. "No," he said, "I have to see you." "Turn on the light," I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Then he said, "Okay, I'm ready to see you." "Right here," I said, "I'm right here." He began to undress me. "What are you doing, Bob?" I said. "I need to see you," he replied. "But you've seen a red leather couch before," I said. Bob continued. He would not stop. I wanted to throw up and die. "This is awfully intimate," I said. "Can't you just do it?" "No," he said. "It's who you are. I need to look." I held my breath. He looked and looked. He got breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. "You're so beautiful," he said. "You're elegant and deep and innocent and wild." "You saw that there?" I said. It was like he had read my palm. "I saw that," he said, "and more, much, much more." He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina. In the light, as I watched him looking at me, he looked so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I felt beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud. I began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina, and we were gone.
fact found in UNICEF's 2013 report, Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, a statistical overview and exploration of the dynamics of change. Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 125 million girls and young women. In the 29 countries where it's practiced, around 3 million young girls each year can expect the knife or the razor or a glass shard to cut the clitoris or remove it altogether. In a man, this would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results of FGM include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, and vaginal walls. Long-term, chronic uterine infection, increased agony and danger during childbirths, and early deaths.
My vagina's angry. It is. It's pissed off. My vagina's furious, and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking up ways to torture my poor-ass gentle-loving vaginas? Spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy? Vagina motherfuckers! All this shit they're constantly trying to shove up us, clean us up, stuff us up, make it go away? Well, my vagina's not going away. It's pissed off and it's staying right here. Like tampons. What the hell is that? A wad of dry fucking cotton stuffed up there? Why can't they find a way to subtly lubricate the tampon? As soon as my vagina sees it, it goes into shock. It says forget it. It closes up. You need to work with the vagina. Introduce it to things. Prepare the way. That's what foreplay's all about. You gotta convince my vagina. Seduce my vagina. Engage my vagina's trust. You can't do that with a dry wad of fucking cotton. Stop shoving things up me. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina doesn't need to be cleaned up. It smells good already. Don't try to decorate. Don't believe them when he tells you, oh, it smells like rose petals, when it's supposed to smell like pussy. That's what they're doing, trying to clean it up, make it smell like bathroom spray or a garden. All those douche sprays, floral, berry, rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like rain. All cleaned up like washing a fish after you cooked it. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it. Then there's those exams. Who thought them up? There's got to be a better way to do those exams. Why the scary paper dress that scratches your tits and crunches when you lie down so you feel like a wad of paper someone threw away? Why the rubber gloves? Why the flashlight all up there like Nancy Drew working against gravity? Why the Nazi steel stirrups? The mean cold duck lips they shove inside you? What's that? My vagina's angry about those visits. It gets defended weeks in advance, won't go out of the house. Then you get there. Don't you hate that? Relax, scoot down. Why? So you can shove mean, cold duck lips inside me? I don't think so. I mean, why can't they find some nice, delicious purple velvet and wrap it around me? Lay me down on some feathery cotton spread. Put on some friendly pink or blue gloves. Lay my feet in some fur-covered stirrups. Warm, up the duck lips. Work with my vagina. But no, more tortures, dry wad of fucking cotton, cold duck lips, and thong underwear. That's the worst, thong underwear. Who thought that up? Moves around all the time, gets stuck in the back of your crusty butt? Vagina's supposed to be loose and wide, not held together. That's why girdles are so bad. Vaginas need to move and spread and talk and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that, something to give them pleasure. No, of course they won't do that. Hate to see a woman having pleasure, particularly sexual pleasure. I mean, make a nice pair of soft cotton underwear with a French tickler built in. Women would be coming all day long. Coming in the supermarket, coming on the subway, coming happy vaginas. They wouldn't be able to stand it. Seeing all those energized, not taking shit, hot, happy vaginas. If my vagina could talk, it would talk about itself, like me. It would talk about other vaginas. It would do vagina impressions. It would wear hairy Winston diamonds. No clothing, just there, all draped in diamonds. My vagina helped release a giant baby. It thought it would be doing more of that. It's not. Now it wants to travel. Doesn't want a lot of company. It wants to read and know things and get out more. It wants sex. It loves sex. It wants to go deeper. It's hungry for depth. It wants kindness. It wants change. It wants silence and freedom and gentle kisses and warm liquids and deep touch. It wants chocolate. It wants to scream. It wants to stop being angry. It wants to come. It wants to want. It wants. My vagina? My vagina. Well, it wants everything.
Bosnian women refugees were interviewed during the war in Yugoslavia, in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as a systematic tactical war. It was shocking to see how little people did to stop it. But then again, according to a report published by the EU Fundamental Rights Agency in 2014, 1 in 3 women in the EU have suffered from physical and or sexual abuse since the age of 15, which is another kind of war. This monologue is based on one woman's story. We do it tonight for that woman and all the extraordinary women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green. Water, soft pink fields, cow mooing, sun resting, sweet boyfriend touching lightly with soft piece of blonde straw. There is something between my legs. I do not know what it is. I do not know where it is. I do not touch. Not now. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatty. Can't wait so much, saying words, talking, can't quit trying, can't quit saying, oh yes, not since. sewn in down there with thick black fishing line, and the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed, and its throat is slit, and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina singing all girl songs, all goat bell ringing songs, vagina songs, vagina home songs. Not since they put a long, thick rifle inside me, so cold the steel rod canceling my heart. Don't know whether they're going to fire it or shove it through my spinning brain. 6 of them, monstrous doctors, shoving bottles of me too. There were sticks and the end of a broom. My vagina, swimming river water, clean spilling water, over sun-baked stones, over stone clit stones, over and over. Not since I heard this skin tear and made lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came off in my hand, a part of the lip. Now one side is completely gone. My vagina, a live, wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. Not since they took turns for 7 days, smelling like feces and smoked meat. They left their dirty sperm inside me. I became a river of poison and pus, and all the crops died, and the fish. My vagina, a live, wet water village. They invaded it, butchered it, and burned it down. I do not touch, do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
My short skirt is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication that I want it, or give it, or that I hook.
My short skirt is not begging for it. It doesn't want you to rip it off me or pull it down.
My short skirt is not a legal reason for raping me. Although it has been before, it will not hold up in the new court.
My short skirt, believe it or not, has nothing to do with you.
My short skirt is about discovering the power of my lower calves, about cool autumn air traveling up my inner thighs, about allowing everything I see or pass or feel to live inside.
My short skirt is not proof that I'm stupid or undecided or a malleable little girl.
My short skirt is my defiance. I will not let you make me afraid. My short skirt is not showing off. This is who I am. Before you made me cover it or tone it down, get used to it.
My short skirt is happiness. I can feel myself on the ground. I am here and I am hot.
My short skirt is a liberation flag in the women's army. I declare these streets, any streets, my vagina's country.
My short skirt is turquoise water with swimming-coloured fish, a summer festival in the starry dark, a bird calling, a train arriving in a foreign town.
My short skirt is a wild spin, a full breath, a tango dip. My short skirt is initiation, appreciation, excitation.
But mainly, my short skirt and everything under it is mine.
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 In hundreds of interviews with homeless women over the course of 13 years, only one woman was not sexually abused as a little girl or raped as a young woman. For most of these women, home is a very scary place, a place they'd fled. The shelters, ironically the first places many of them ever find safety, protection, or comfort. This is a woman's story as she told it. What isn't in this story is the fact that this woman met another woman in a shelter, and they fell in love. And through the love, they both go out of the shelter system.
Memory, December 1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me in a scary, loud, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my coochie's nurture. I become terrified that I scratch the dog down there. I do not touch myself again, even in the bath. I am afraid of the water getting in and filling me up so I explode. I put band-aids over my coochie to cover the hole, but they fell off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart pattern cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't. Memory, 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, who is 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't pee. My mama asks me what's wrong with my coochie's nurture, and when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she yells at me and tells me to never let anyone else touch me down there again. I tried to explain that he didn't touch it, Mama. He punched it. Memory, 9 years old. I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my coochie's nurture on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie's nurture's mouth. I get taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart. Memory, 10 years old. I'm at my father's house and he's having a party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement and trying on my new white cotton bra and panties that my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man Alfred, comes up from behind and pulls my new underpants down and sticks his big hard penis into my coochie's nurture. I scream, I kick, I try to fight him off, but he already gets it in. My father's there then, and he's having a gun, and there's a loud, horrible noise, and there's blood all over Alfred and me, lots of blood. I'm sure my coochie is finally falling off. Alfred gets paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years. Memory, 13 years old. My coochie's nurture is a very bad place. It's a place of pain, nastiness, punching, invasion, and blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs and I'm traveling, going far away from here. Memory, 16 years old. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I tell her I do not like to do that. Then, she says she wants to show me something, and she leans over and kisses me so softly with her lips on my lips and puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. She asks me if I want to come over to her house, and then she kisses me again and tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asked my mama if I can spend the night, and my mother is delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me. I'm scared and I can't wait. Her apartment is fantastic. She got it hooked up. It's the 70s, the beats, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decide right there that I want to be a secretary like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself and asks me what I want to drink. I say the same as she's having, and she says she doesn't think my mama would like me drinking vodka. I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the pretty lady makes me a drink. Then she changes into this beautiful chocolate satin teddy. She's so beautiful. I always thought bulldaggers were ugly. I say, you look great. And she says, so do you. I say, but I only have this white cotton bra and underpants. Then she dresses me slowly into another satin teddy. It's lavender, like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol has gone to my head and I'm loose and ready. There's a picture over her bed of a naked black woman with a huge afro. She gently and slowly lays me out on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing makes me come. Then she does everything to me and my coochie's nurture that I always thought was nasty before. And wow, I'm so hot, so wild. She says, your vagina, untouched by men, smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild, and then the phone rings, and of course it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavily, and I try to act normal when I get on the phone, and she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, mama, exercising. Then she asks the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around boys. And the lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around here. Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my coochie's nurture. She makes me play with myself in front of her and teaches me all the different ways to give myself pleasure. She's very thorough. She says I should always know how to give myself pleasure, so I will never need to rely on a man. In the morning, I'm worried that I've become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realized later that she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry ass coochie's nurture and raised it into a kind of heaven.
We've created a map of vagina-friendly cities. Welcome, CEU Budapest! The wild for vaginas in CEU. In fact, a woman from CEU was obsessed about a particular word, a pejorative word used to describe the vagina. Her mission was to reconceive that word.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Listen to it. Cunt. K-k-caw, caw. Cavern, cackle, clit, cute, come, closed, closed, inside, inside, ka, then you, then cup, then curvy, inviting, shark skin uniform, under, up, urge, U, then N, then cun, snug letters fitting perfectly together, N, nest, now, nexus, nice, nice. Always depth, always round and uppercase, cun, cun. N, a jagged, wicked electrical pulse, then soft N, warm N, cun, cun. Then T, then certain, sharp, tangy T, texture, take, tent, tight, tantalizing, tensing, taste, tendrils, time, tactile, tell me, cunt, cunt, say it, tell me, cunt, cunt, cunt,
A 6-year-old girl was asked, if your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Red high tops and a cap from the Mets worn backwards.
And if it could speak, what would it say?
Only words that start with V and T. Like violin and turtle.
And what does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach. Or a diamond that I found in a treasure and now it's mine.
And what's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, there's a really smart brain.
And what does it smell like?
Snowflakes.
Sex workers have rich, compelling, complex relationships with the vaginas. This particular woman blows my mind. She was a sex worker, but she only did sex work with women.
I love vaginas. I love women. I do not see them as separate things. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I didn't start off like this, no. To the contrary, I started off as a lawyer. But at some point in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got very good at it. Kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it, and it was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women. Lace and silk and leather. I used props, whips and handcuffs, rope, dildos. There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits. Although, I do wear them from time to time in my new line of work. They serve quite nicely. No, there were no props in tax law. There was no excitement, no wetness, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouths. But mainly, there was no moaning. That was the key, I see now. Moaning was what ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. See, when I was a little girl, I would watch women in the movies making love, making these strange, orgasmic noises, and I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I just couldn't believe that these big, outrageous, ungoverned sounds came out of women. I longed to moan. I practiced in front of a mirror on a tape recorder, moaning in various keys and various tones. But when I played it back, it always sounded fake. I mean, it was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really, only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to pee really badly once on a car trip. It went on for almost an hour, and when I finally got to pee in this dirty little gas station, I was so excited that I moaned. I moaned while I peed. I couldn't believe it, me moaning in a Texaco in the middle of Louisiana. But it was right then that I realized that moans were connected more with not getting what you want right away, with putting things off. The moans were best when they came out of this hidden, mysterious place inside you that was speaking its own language. I realized that moans were, in fact, that language. I became a moaner. It made men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and they couldn't concentrate. They'd lose focus, and then they'd lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. No, the walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building. People stared at me with contempt on the elevator. Some men called me too intense. Some called me insane. I began to feel bad about my moaning. I got quiet. I got polite. I made noise into a pillow. Oh gosh. I got quiet and polite. Sorry. Oh yes, of course. I learned to choke my moan, to hold it back like a sneeze. I began to get headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered that most women loved my moaning, but more importantly, how deeply excited I got when other women moaned, when I was responsible for other women moaning. I made love to quiet women and found this place inside them, and they shocked themselves with their moaning. I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was like surgery, like a delicate science, finding the right tempo, the exact location, or home of the moan. That's what I like to call it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes, sorry. Oh yeah, sometimes I snuck up on it, off the record, quietly disarming all of the surrounding alarms before moving in, Sometimes I used force, but not violent, oppressive force, no. More dominating, I'm gonna take you somewhere, just lay back and enjoy the ride kind of force. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moan before things even got started, while we were eating salad or chicken, just right there with my fingers. Here it is, like that, real simple in the kitchen, all mixed up with the balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I used props. I loved props. But sometimes I made the woman find her own moan in front of me. I waited, stuck it out, until she opened herself. I wasn't fooled by the minor, more obvious moans. I pushed her further, all the way into her power moan. You see, there's the click moan. Ah, ah, ah. There's the vaginal moan. Ah, ah. There's the combo clip vaginal moan. Ah, oh, ah, oh. There's the almost moan. Ah, 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 ah. There's the right on it moan. Ah, yeah, right there. Oh, fuck, yeah. There's the elegant moan. Oh, there's the Grace Slick moan. Oh, yeah! There's the Wasp moan. There's the mountaintop moan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's the baby moan. There's the doggy moan. There's the uninhibited, militant bisexual moan. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! There's the machine gun moan. There's the tortured Zen moan. There's the diva moan. There's the CEU moan. I should be studying! There's finally the surprise triple orgasm moan.
For some time without any mention of birth. And this was a bizarre omission. But then again, a male journalist recently asked, what's the connection? Our author, Eve Ensler, was present for the birth of her granddaughter. She was in awe with vaginas before that moment. She's in deep worship now.
I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there. Her mother, her husband, and I. And the nurse from the Ukraine with her whole hand up there in her vagina, just feeling and turning with her rubber glove, talking to us casually, like she was turning on a loaded faucet. I was there when the contractions made her crawl on all fours, made unfamiliar moans leak out of her pores, and still there, after hours, when she just screamed suddenly, wild, her arms striking at the electric air. I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a sacred vessel, a Venetian canal, a deep well with a tiny child stuck inside waiting to be rescued. I saw the colors of her vagina. They changed. Saw the bruised, broken blue, the blistering tomato red, saw the gray pink, the dark, saw the blood-like perspiration along the edges, the yellow, white liquid, the shit, the clots pushing out of all the holes, pushing harder and harder, saw through the hole the baby's head, scratches of black hair just there beyond the bone, a hard round memory as the nurse from the Ukraine just kept turning and turning her slippery hand. I was there when each of us, her mother and I, held a leg and pushed with all our strength against her pushing. We spread her wide, and her husband was counting very sternly. 1, 2, 3. He was telling her to focus harder. We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget the vagina, all of us. I mean, what else could explain our lack of awe, our lack of reverence? I was there when the doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland spoons, and there as her vagina became a wide, operatic mouth, singing with all its strength. First the tiny head, and the gray flopping arm, then the fast-swimming body swimming quickly into our weeping arms. I was there later when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and I let myself see her, all spread, completely exposed, mutilated, swollen, torn, bleeding, all over the doctor's hands who was calmly sewing her there. I stood and her vagina became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice, and so is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in, can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us, stretch for us, die for us, and bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there in the room. I remember.
My revolution begins in the body. It isn't waiting anymore. My revolution does not need approval or permission. It happens because it has to happen. In each neighborhood, village, city or town, at gatherings of tribes, fellow students, women at the market, on the bus. It might be gradual and soft. It might be spontaneous and loud. It might be happening already. It may be found in your closet, your drawers, your gut, your legs, your multiplying cells, in the naked man of toned nipples and overflowing breasts. My revolution is swelling from the insatiable drumming between my legs. My revolution is willing to die for this. My revolution is ready to live big. My revolution is overthrowing the state of mind called patriarchy. My revolution will not be choreographed, although it requires a few familiar steps. My revolution is not violent, but it will not shy away from the dangerous edges where fierce displays of resistance stumble into something new. My revolution is in this body, in these hips, atrophied by misogyny, in this jaw, where mute by anger and atrocity. My revolution is connection, not consumption. Passion, not profit. orgasm, not ownership. My revolution is of this earth and will come from her, for her, because of her. It understands that every time we frag or drill or violate the layers of her sacredness, we violate the souls of our future. My revolution is not ashamed to press my body down, her mud floor in front, banyan, cypress, oak, pine, Kenyan, chestnut, mulberry, redwood, sycamore trees, to bow shamelessly to shocking yellow birds and rose blue setting skies, hearts floating, purple bougainvillea and aqua sea. My revolution gladly kisses the feet of mothers and nurses and cleaners and servers and nannies and healers and all who are alive and give life. My revolution is on his knees, on my knees, to every holy thing, and to those who carry empire-made burdens in and on their heads and backs and hearts. My revolution demands abandon, expects the original, relies on troublemakers, anarchists, poets, shamans, seers, sexual explorers, tricksters, mystic travelers, trick road walkers, and those who go too far and feel too much. My revolution shows up unexpectedly, is not naive, but believes in miracles, cannot be categorized, targeted, branded, or even located, offers prophecy, not prescription, is determined by mystery and ecstatic joy. It requires listening. It is not centralized, although we all know where we're going. It happens at stages and at once. It happens when you live and everywhere. It understands that divisions are diversions. It requires sitting still and staring deep into my eyes. Go ahead, love.
I think we must all now live on the edge of incomprehensible madness, refusing to give up and refusing to pretend, dancing on the precipice of annihilation while passionately embracing change and the new paradigm. But this is the most difficult in today's world, in a system that has thoroughly indoctrinated us, refusal to think in yes and no's, likes or unlikes, for us or against us, pathology that is idiotic, brandable, consumable, reductionist absolutes. To be an enthusiastic absurdist requires that you embrace ambiguity and insecurity and interrupt the world the way we see fit. It means that you will leap, assuming that you will also fall, and face the predicament you are in head on. So, we must learn and practice the art of disruption. We must learn to release the tentacles of false securities and interrupt the world as we know it. We must know that anywhere we live, or anything we'll do, will collapse on a dime or just disintegrate, and that we have to accept change and learn to let go, living as if there's no future but the one we are creating right here, right now, with nothing guaranteed but our willingness to be pioneers of a new consciousness and a new way. And we must become disruptors, because that is the power of creative resistance, interrupting business as usual, taking stands for fitting our acceptance and economic elevation, risking disapproval and controversy, and participating in activities and events that loosen our grip on suicidal demons and cause the tyrants to fall. Disruptors, fighting and dancing with all our mights for life over comfort.
so much for coming out tonight. You've been a tremendously engaging audience. We really enjoyed having you. And thank you also for buying tickets and thus supporting our beneficiary. Let's help refugees together. Secondly, a massive thank you to our gorgeous cast. They found the time among the deadlines and lectures to bring this play for you, so they're beyond amazing. But also, as you've seen, so the Vagina Monologues are a big part of it. It's about becoming vulnerable to tell a difficult story in order to call for change. So they all got vulnerable for you here tonight on stage to share these difficult stories for you. So they're all an inspiration to me. Give them much a massive thank you to our volunteers who made this play possible, namely to Lise for doing the lights. Rebecca, Dalia, Marie-Christine and Rob for selling tickets and distributing the programs. For helping out backstage. We could not have done it without you. But, most importantly, a massive thank you to our very talented director, Victoria Posto. And she worked in such dedication, helping us become top star vaginas. So, a massive thank you. You're the best director we could have asked for. We're really proud of you.
Okay, thank you very much. I have just to mention a few things before letting you go. I'd like to mention that this is a work team, and only working as a team we could achieve this beautiful result that you saw today. So first, about the first team, about the Hershey team. So I'd like to ask you to join me to thank my colleague, Jofi Shuba, right here. Jofi was the executive producer of the play, and without her, we'd not have a program, we'd not have the tickets, would not have the poster to promote the play, would not have the video, the amazing video teaser that you saw about us preparing for this play. Thank you very much, Jofi. Another Hershey vaginal wonder is Simona Gamonte, who was directing this play for the last 2 years, and Simona has been a great advisor and guide for me for the last 3 months of preparation work for this play. Thank you, Simona. And now the second team is formed by you, beautiful audience, by our amazing volunteers and the beautiful cast that made me to cry tonight. Yes. I'm joking. This is that you performed so well, so nice. You were amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you, the audience, being engaging with them and supporting them, applauding and screaming and showing them that you are here, that you listen to them. That was very nice. Thank you very much. And because without all of you, we could not collect 225,000 forints. You deserve it. going to go to Let's Help Refugee Together, which is a grassroots organization that works with refugees here in Hungary and that is developing new projects specifically for refugee women and girls. So with your help and volunteers' help, refugee women and girls, they might have some interesting projects and to improve their life a little bit here in Hungary and in Budapest. Thank you again. And now that the play is over and you're going to leave the auditorium, please remember to love, respect, and listen to vaginas and women. Thank you very much. I'm not letting you go because I forgot something very important, the after party. That you are invited to, all of you. You have the information in the programs and it's going to take place at Ankert, not very far from CU. You can find the address in the program. So please join us with the cast to continue the night and to talk about vaginas and great experiences. Thank you very much.